All right, y'all. Welcome back for another episode of Behind the Barber podcast. I am the original co-host, Adrian, and I am joined today by
Sway, as always.
And your boy, Jim. Thanks for having me, guys.
Jim in the building today for this special podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate the love, guys. I appreciate the love.
By special request, we got him in,
Special request. Got a lot of emails. Got a lot of tags on Instagram like, we need Jim on the podcast. And we always do what the fans ask. So, Jim, you're here.
Hey,
Tell us how you feeling.
Man, I'm feeling good, guys. I'm feeling good. I'm glad y'all had me today. You know, ain't no better feeling than that. To be wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what's up, Jimmy. So what's up, Jimmy? How long have me and Adrian known you? Because I know we met you pretty much on the same night.
Well, we're looking at about 2 years now. A little over 2 years.
I would say a solid 18 years.
No, I would not say a solid 18. I just remember one time that Adrian's now girlfriend invited me and Ruben to go eat one night.
Shout out Shelly.
And you guys were there at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we hit it off.
Was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago. Time flies, buddy. Time flies.
Wow. You know what it was? Because we went on that Atlanta vacation.
Yes,
and
15 years ago.
Yeah, we did.
It was 2 years ago,
So
man.
this was a little bit before that. That was in more or less June or July.
Yeah.
And so we probably met in like May or April of that year.
Wow.
And Chelly and Ruben decided to have a bonfire for me because I was going away to Ecuador.
Oh,
that's right.
So
that's where
it's all coming together.
No, I saw you afterwards.
Yeah. Well, no, we had a bonfire at Ruben and Chelly's house.
Yeah.
For my going away party, and then but before that, we all got together at Buffalo Wild Wings.
That's true.
And that's where I met you guys.
That's what's up, Jimmy. So I know we're all tight right now, dog. But what was your first impression of this food? Because I know you've talked about this.
You can be very graphic on this. It's all right.
Nah, I won't be graphic. I'll just be clear. You know.
Yeah.
I was taken a little bit back by the personalities, just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, just a little. But then
I gotta be honest with you, Sway does seem whack like that when you meet him. Nah, I'm just playing.
No, but as I got to know you guys, I was like, man, these are a couple cool fellas, man. You know.
Yeah, I know when me and Adrian get together at Buffalo's, dude. I know we did a little roast session, but it's all in love, dog.
Stuff goes down in pubs.
Yeah.
And it's all love, though.
Yeah, and I don't think we've all been back since. So hey,
you know what? We have not gone all back.
We haven't. But maybe one of these days we'll round up again and head on over. Maybe have a drink and a wing, and talk about the good old days.
One wing.
Just one
wing.
That's just.
We'll split a snack size. I really think we need to go back to Buffs. Now that you said that, it just.
We'll have to do it.
We have to go back to Buffs because we have not been back, all of us together.
So I love the fact that we pre-record these type of shows, these podcasts.
Yeah.
How soon before it airs live?
Not too late. I usually do it like the next day.
The next day or so.
A day or two. So.
Okay. Well, that's good.
So yeah, we'll get it in soon, dog. You'll see it soon.
So I want to tell you guys, I've been listening to the podcasts.
What you think, dude?
You know what? I'm a follower.
Yeah.
So I do Uber, Lyft on the side.
Alright.
And today I was listening to the podcasts while I was driving, and I was pretty much marketing the podcast to all the listeners.
Dang, bro.
So you're listening in your car, and whoever got
while
in
I had
was
riders
also
in
listen.
there. Yes, they were listening.
One
cat was like, "Hey, man, what are we listening to?" So I gave him the scoop, and I turned it up.
Nice.
He stayed tuned the whole way up until his destination. Excuse me. But yeah,
how much would you say he listened to? Like 15 minutes, 30 minutes?
I'll say about a good 10 to 12.
That's good.
Did he give you any feedback or not?
No. He was just into it. He was kind of just listening.
But he did ask, "What is?"
Yeah. He goes, "Hey, what are we listening to?" He goes, "I like it." And then I told him what it was briefly because I was trying to listen,
Yeah, of course.
And then I briefly told him what it was and turned it back up.
Nice. That's really cool.
So now you've listened to it, like, how would you describe the podcast to somebody?
I would have to say that the podcast is an adventure.
Dang.
Because that's exactly what it is. We're getting to see the scope and the perspective of basically the vision of Sway.
Dang.
Sway's the one that's pretty much living this life. It's about him all the way.
This is true. I want to remind the listeners that this podcast is about Sway. We get a lot of emails and stuff, saying, Adrian, you're awesome. You're great on the podcast. I love your podcast. I'm like, what?
You should kick Sway off.
Yeah, you need to, like, what is he doing? I'm like, it's his podcast.
Well,
like,
this is definitely a reminder that this is an adventure, but it's Sway's adventure.
Yeah, it's Sway's adventure.
We're going to see his journey through and how he gets it.
Epic adventure.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I forgot to mention to you guys, man. About 2 days ago, I got a email from one of my followers, and they gave me a really good feedback.
Well, they say kick Adrian off immediately.
No, dude, actually the opposite.
No more
like
guests.
he gave me good feedback on like, hey, here's some tips on improving your mic quality or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was good feedback. I always welcome feedback.
Can you say what he said?
I can't remember verbatim, but his exact words. He's all, I love the co-host that you bring on. I love your guest that you have on.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So I appreciate all you guys.
Was this a phone call, an email, or how did he convey this?
No, it's email.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
I would consider that fan mail. Definitely.
Yeah, it's fan mail. It's definitely fan mail.
Definitely moving up. We got a couple more listeners that are showing appreciation and whatnot.
And then like my friends that listen to it, they give me good feedback on it because we try and make it as much as a conversation as possible. We don't have it scripted.
I saw when you also have a page on Instagram.
Yeah.
Can you tell the listeners what that is? And we'll remind you at the end as well. But
yeah, definitely. On Instagram, it's at @BehindTheBarber_podcast. That's the handle.
BehindTheBarber_podcast.
Yeah,
now, on that page, I saw that you posted like where the listeners are from. And of course, from the United States, a couple states. I saw Alaska up there. But one I was surprised by, it was Ireland.
Dude, honestly, like,
I
think it's McGregor, dog.
I think it's Connor. I think it's Connor.
I think Connor's up there. He went back to the motherland. He's just listening to the podcast.
Whoever's listening from Ireland, I want to say shout out.
So let me get this straight.
That's awesome.
You can view from where your listeners are?
Yes, there's a hosting app that I use. It's called Libsyn. It's spelled kind of different, but basically it's a hosting app, so that way it stores all your audio, and that's where they get it from. But the good thing about it is if you pay extra, you can get like really advanced statistics and see like if most of your users are Android users or Apple users, or if they get it from the website, which some of them do. Major shout out to Apple, dog, because the majority of my listeners are iPhone users.
Yeah. Shout out to Samsung too, though.
Mad love too.
Well, we always gotta show a little love to the competition.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
iPhone forever, right here, baby.
Yeah.
So everybody knows we all have iPhones.
Yeah,
it's Team iPhone right here.
It's Team iPhone. I hate to say it, but it's Team iPhone.
Yeah, dude. But out of the like 220 downloads I have right now, it doesn't track the streaming. So if somebody just listens to it,
that's in the thousands for the listeners listening.
Yeah, but it tracks the amount of people that download it. So that's really impressive because for somebody to download it, usually it means they want to listen to it again in the future and they don't want to have to like run their data again.
Oh, nice.
So
Very
I
true.
mean that's good. So out of the 200 and something, 5 downloads, it's probably the same person that downloaded episode 1 through 5.
Oh wow.
But yeah, apparently somebody from Ireland has caught on to our podcast. Which I don't know how they did because I haven't marketed to people from Ireland yet.
We love it. Either way, we love it.
Yeah, dude.
The way that it anything on the web travels so fast these days.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
really don't have any control who catches it. But it's definitely good news that the audience is expanding.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Definitely is good news.
Like you say, the web, like the internet, there's really no boundaries anymore. Like, as far as like where you're able to like connect to people or anything.
Yeah,
this is just proof, man. Yeah. The internet is like a great tool.
So it kind of reminds me when Facebook was new. Yeah. They were very excited when people from other continents started becoming users. I don't know if y'all ever saw the movie Social Network, but this is kind of similar.
That was a cool movie.
It was a good movie. And so this is kind of similar in the fact that you just don't know how or where you'll expand to, but you're eventually going to expand. You don't have any choice but to go up.
Yeah, definitely, man. So I'm kind of curious, like, if the Ireland listener is listening right now, send me an email. Let me know how you found me. Wow. If it was for the hashtag, if somebody recommended you, I am definitely curious.
And if you're pro McGregor, we would definitely want to know that. So I have a question for the host and the co-host. So what had crossed my mind today while I was listening to the podcast is I was noticing the different avenues that you have of people being able to stay in contact with you guys.
Right.
So one of them was Instagram.
Right.
Would you guys ever consider, and if you do, I would love to be present.
Right.
But would you guys ever consider to do an Instagram live podcast?
Dude, that's genius.
I am on board 100%. For the record, I always wanted to do live shows on YouTube.
You know, I think of like Charlemagne the God and the Breakfast Club, and how you can go to YouTube and you can see them talking live on the radio show.
Right.
And to me, it kind of gives me that behind the scenes. The people who are listening kind of get to place a face with the voice.
Right.
You know? So I was like, this is an opportunity. Maybe I should, just ask these guys if they've considered it.
Me, personally, I think that's a great idea, Jim. Straight up. I would be down to do an Instagram live video.
Dude, I would be down, dog. I don't know where we'll do it, though, but that's a good idea. It hadn't really crossed my mind yet, dude. So.
You know, the setting, that will come with time. But the idea, now that it's there, you'll be able to plan it. And I think you'll plan it well. And all of your listeners will now be able to become viewers and see the faces.
Now, are you saying like a whole podcast, or have a special just live Instagram, like a couple minutes?
Well,
like an intro, or would you just a whole episode?
I don't see why not a whole episode.
Because I'm liking the whole idea of the whole episode.
Right. Now the only thing about Instagram Live, and even if you guys decided to take this to Facebook Live, but I do know at the time,
which we would not, just for the fact.
Oh, okay. Because I know at the time being, you guys have the Behind the Barber Instagram account.
Right.
So that's basically where the main live would take place. So, I don't see why not, an entire episode. That way your viewers can either tune in to see or listen, and they can match the voice with the face.
This is true.
Yeah, definitely. Well, to be honest with you, dog, like, probably the only thing I would be kind of, I don't want to say cautious about, dog, but, like, I haven't put any pictures of me on there.
Oh.
So, like, I feel kind of weird about, like my personal Instagram, like, it's private.
Right. That's just
so, like,
true.
So, one thing I've always felt kind of weird about is having a picture of you public. For a few reasons. Like, I know this is actually intentional.
I'm gonna cut you off because you're making no sense right now.
Right? Yeah.
No, I'm just playing.
Nah, but one reason why I've actually kept it private, as far as like the school I go to, is just because, of course, I'm gonna be speaking my mind on here, and I know a lot of barbers won't agree with it. Some will even be insulted by it. People that don't have good customer service. So me as a barber, like, especially once I get out of class, like, I don't want these barbershops to like cut me off and be like, "Hey, that's that guy from the podcast that's talking crap about."
I disagree. I disagree with you 100%.
Are a lot of your classmates followers of your page?
No, I don't even tell them about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then, see, I disagree. Then there's no reason.
But that's just kind of like something
it's
I
a
thought
caution.
about.
There's nothing wrong with being cautious.
It's a caution. It's kind of like the same way if you're working at, Walmart, and then you talk bad about Walmart, even though you.
Just for the record, there's a bunch of people that work at Walmart who talk bad about Walmart.
Yeah.
I was one of them.
Oh man.
Yeah, but Walmart's got a lot of. They've got a lot of issues.
Yeah, they do.
I say, if you're a listener and you want us to do a live podcast, email us, and then we'll go off of that.
You know what? That's.
I say we let the
because
fans decide.
now we're looking at the fans' perspective and the demand.
Yeah, definitely, dude. So,
I think if the fans want it, we will do it.
I'll just throw this out there. It's a little bit funny, but if you don't want your faces discovered online.
Yeah.
Well, then, you could always cover your faces during the podcast.
I will not.
Maybe with a Michael Jordan cry face. I don't know.
Yes. I think Sway can have a Michael Jordan cry face. I will have my ugly mug all over that
on that
video.
I honestly don't mind going live and showing myself, but everything with precaution. So you guys just let me know. Let me know what you decide.
I think, I'm down if the fans would vote for it. Email us. Just even suggest it on the Instagram page.
Emails are great, but we don't know what's in those emails, Could be policy slips, it could be money. But we're hoping it's money.
We're going to PayPal a page set up pretty soon, too. That way y'all can donate to the podcast.
Yeah, we can donate. We can buy some mics.
Yeah.
Get a better studio.
We can buy some
better studio. Yeah. Well, everything with time. Everything with time.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
But, I thought I'd run that by you, let you guys know that I'm a big fan. I was listening to the podcast. I think I listened to 3 of them straight today.
Yeah.
I was trying to catch up. I had some free time. I was cruising around town and what better way to market the information than, you know, playing it while you got different riders in the car. You know what I'm saying?
So you're barely on episode 3, dog?
Well, I'm already caught up.
Supporting us all the way, dude.
You know, I caught some free time lately, so hey, I'm on it. I'm all the way up, just like Fat Joe said. Because for a minute there, I was down.
Now, how often do you do the Lyft and Uber, like you say?
Lyft and Uber, probably. It's been an entire month and a half, maybe 2 months since I've done it.
Okay.
What I like to do is I like to do Lyft and Uber on my spare time. Try and continue to make some collective money. You know, I got a check coming in every now and then, but that Uber and that Lyft, it's just supplemental money. It just comes in, you know. So I like to do it. I really do like to do it.
Now for the listeners, you're kind of, and I wouldn't say in the same boat as Sway, but you used to have a full-time job.
I did.
Yes,
I did.
Tell us about it.
Well, I used to work for a chain, and this chain that I worked for,
a food restaurant.
It was a food restaurant.
Huge
chain.
in Texas.
Barbecue.
Yeah.
It was
in Texas.
Huge in southern Texas.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you say the name?
No.
Nah. Okay.
No, I can't. We'll protect the name for the innocent and the guilty.
Hey.
But I worked for that chain for 3 years.
I'm just gonna give a hint to the listeners. It has barbecue in it.
It definitely has barbecue in the name.
You can narrow it down from there.
If you can't figure out which one it is in South Texas that has barbecue in it, you're not from South Texas.
Yeah. All right, go on.
But yeah,
I was making that fedia, right?
Yeah, I was making some good money.
A lot of hours.
Yeah.
So why do you leave it, dog?
See, you know, one of the issues that I had is that it was interfering with my personal life.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have in common with Sway is that I have, like Sway, learned how to revolve things around my life to the way I want it.
Of course.
What we have today is we have people that work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're dedicated to a company, and the company maybe 5% loves them, maybe not, you know, really cares about them, maybe not. And you dedicate 20, 25, 30 years to a company, and what do you get? A gold coin?
Nice.
What do you get? A plaque?
You get a nice pat on the back.
Let me tell you something. This barbecue company that I'm with, a lady there has been working there over 30 years.
Man.
And she got a 32-inch screen TV. That's what she has to show for it. All 32 years. You would think a bonus, a pension, or something. But she got a TV. Now, is she grateful? I'm sure she's grateful. But what is some real gratitude? How do you show some real gratitude?
Especially that company makes mad money,
now,
dog.
This is a multi-million-dollar barbecue company we're talking about.
They're in other cities besides our city.
Yeah, so can we mention the cities? How do we feel about mentioning cities in South Georgia, in South Texas?
South Georgia.
Sorry, I lived there for a while.
Jim also lived in Georgia. So listen, he gave it away.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so they have.
Okay, they have them in San Antonio.
They have over 70 locations
here
in San Antonio, Austin, and Corpus area, and the surrounding San Antonio area.
Right.
So it's a multi-million-dollar company.
Yes.
But
now you didn't work 9 to 5 though.
No, man. Let me tell y'all, I work 10 to 12 hours a day.
Minimum.
At times.
Minimum.
Yeah, minimum.
And holidays, dog? Tell me about the holidays,
Oh, my goodness. I was getting probably about 40, 50 hours OT. OT, you heard correctly.
Overtime?
Overtime.
So you're saying about 80 hours a week?
80 hours a week.
Man, that's about right. Only for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the biggest time of the year, and we're just working mad hours. Mad hours.
Wow.
I mean, I would find myself going in at 5 a.m. and getting out at probably around 11, 12 at night.
Wow.
And then I was expected to report back at 5 a.m. You know, depending on the route I was taking or whatever the circumstance was. You know, there was times where I was getting ready to clock out at 3 o'clock. And they say, Jim, hold on. There's a store out there in New Braunfels that needs you to go out there and take them some brisket or some sort of barbecue. And guess what I had to do?
I had to get back in the truck.
I had to drive 40 minutes through rush hour traffic.
On 35.
Which made it almost about an hour, a little over an hour.
Man, boy.
On 35, just to go deliver some food for the company.
I case you've never been on 35.
Yeah.
It's
been under construction for about my whole life.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's nothing nice.
I'm 33 years old.
Yeah,
I want to say from San Antonio to maybe like Round Rock, it's not good. 35 traffic.
Never been good.
Yeah.
Never been good. So, think about that though. Does the company really fully appreciate what I've done by sacrificing the rest of my day for that company? I can honestly say in my own opinion that I don't think they do.
Wow.
So why did I decide to resign from that position? I got paid well. I was compensated well. But there becomes a time where the money just doesn't make up for it.
I was about to say that.
The money's just not worth it. The money, it's not there. It's like, okay, you know what? Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Jim, you were getting paid $25 an hour. You know what? Let's just say $30 an hour. Does $30 an hour really compensate for the inconvenience of having to cancel plans that you already had made?
And I think that's the worst part, dog, because if you work overtime but the hours are set, that's one thing, because you could always plan around that. But the tough thing with you, dog, is like, I remember sometimes we would have plans and you would actually still come through, but you would come through late because your job kept you late.
Yes.
And it's not like you could tell them, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, it's like cutting into your time.
Your personal life, yeah.
So this goes back to where we have that common factor, Sway, is that there comes a time where in an individual's life, not just a man's life, but an individual's life, because this could be a woman.
Right.
Where you recognize, I don't want to work for so-and-so anymore. I want to be my own boss.
Yeah, definitely do.
I don't want to follow these hours and this time and this schedule. I want to be able to do things freely when I'm ready to do them. At my pace, at my desired salary.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
So, yeah, that's where pretty much we have that common factor, Sway. So, you dismissing yourself from that employment, I understand 100%.
Definitely, dog. And I think it'll work, man. Like, you really spend like a third of your life there, dude. And for, of course, people like you that had mandatory like overtime, you couldn't say no. Like, it's even more than that.
Honestly, that stat scares me so much when I'm at work. I'm like,
a third of your life.
Just on a week basis, I'm like, I spend 40 hours a week here. Like,
let me ask you a question, Adrian.
Do it.
Who's the most important person in your life? If you could answer that sincerely, who's the most important person in your life? Would you say it's your mother? Of course you would. Would you say it's your girlfriend? Of course you would. Would you say it's another family member? Of course you would. But get this, Adrian. You know your co-workers more than you know your own family.
Man.
How sad is that?
It's for real, dog.
I was about to say that right now. I was like, I have to spend like 40 hours a week with co-workers who, I mean, I know them and like, yeah, we get along.
You do. You know their habits.
Yeah.
And you know their personalities.
And I know
more than you know your own family.
And I know the personal life.
Family too, dog.
And I know the personal life, which I don't like really care to know, but it just comes up like throughout the day and whatever. So yeah, that's what I mean. It's sad when you think about it.
It goes back to that, basically, And when somebody reaches the breaking point where they just realize this isn't for me anymore, well, then now we have that predicament, or we have the circumstance, just like Sway does.
Man, I'm at that breaking point.
Where you just recognize that you no longer want to slave for Pharaoh, or you no longer want to slave for the man. You want to be the man. You should be the king of your own castle.
Definitely, dog. So tell me this, Jimmy, because you're in the same boat. So tell me your experience, because obviously you went from making good money as a commercial driver, and of course working a lot of overtime. You're making mad bank.
Yeah.
How is it now that you're likely making less money? Like, how do you feel? Do you feel happier? You feel like, man, you're...
Yeah, to answer that sincerely, I'm happier. Yeah. Because people think that security is coming from money.
Right.
And the honest answer is if you can live a simple life, you can make enough money to pay your bills and to take care of your family, with or in conjunction with being able to give your family the time they deserve,
yeah, definitely,
then yes, it's all worth the cutback. It really is.
Definitely.
And even at this, I'm an entrepreneur. When I left, I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to Uber and I'm going to live part-time until I decide what I'm going to do with my life, what type of employment I'm going to decide to take on. So with time, I've decided to take on yard maintenance. Okay? I had just went last week and I had business cards printed out. So I should go pick them up next week. So with that, everything comes with time. Right. So once I start marketing with the business cards and start getting my name out there more, people will eventually know who I am more than they do now.
Right.
Because I have clientele. It's limited, but I have it. It's enough to feed me, but it's limited.
Right.
But with time, just like anything else, it always requires time. It will pick up.
It's gonna grow.
Why? Because it's natural.
Yeah.
That's the natural process of things. They have to grow. The ideal circumstance is that you inherit something or you go right into something making a ton of money.
Right.
That's the ideal, but it's very rare.
Definitely.
Unless you come from a family that's already prospered or you have a rich family member that's willing to help you out, then the common man has to start from the ground up. And that's where I'm at. So let's say I do a yard, right? And let's say it takes me 1 hour to do this yard. And let's say I charge $45 for this yard. Now that's $45 in 1 hour. That certainly beats the $17 an hour that I was making.
Right.
Working for a company, you know? And instead of having to share that money with anybody, it's mine. And then when Uncle Sam, comes around every year to collect his, well then obviously, the taxes are included and whatnot. But yeah, do you see what my point is?
Yeah, definitely, dude. And I think a lot of people kind of they get stuck on making so much money. But one thing I've noticed, and I think like my parents told me this, or somebody older told me this, like when I was younger. But they told me the more you make, the more people make, the more people spend.
Oh yeah.
And it's so true because I remember before when I used to work at a credit union, that before this past company, I used to do a lot of loan applications. I was like a loan officer. And dude, I would meet people making lower end like 20,000, 40,000, 50, 60,000, like middle class.
Right.
I would meet people making like 80,000, 100,000 coming in for loans. And then I would be like, "You're making 100,000. Why are you coming in for like a $5,000 cash loan?" But then, I would be a little nosy and look at their account while I have their information open and be like, man, these people are spending like a ridiculous amount of money going out to eat every day. Partying every day. You'll see like all the stuff coming up.
It's just, it's just natural. Like the more money you have, like the more options you have to spend it.
So, dude, like that's really like misleading. Like a lot of people think they're gonna be set with making money, but I mean, if you're out there spending that money, you're the same as a person that's broke. I mean, you don't got money in your bank account. So really the route you've taken is, you might be making a little less, but you're living a lot more simple life.
This is true.
This is facts, man.
These are straight up facts, man. Straight up facts. But yeah, no, I definitely see your point of view in that aspect. I really do. How would you add to that, Adrian?
I mean, I've always heard that, like, the more money you spend, hey, more money, more problems, you know what I mean? But I really think, the more money you make is, you never have enough money, so.
I feel like it probably wasn't nosy on your part, Sway, to kind of investigate and see what they were spending on because they were making so much money. Because I'm assuming as a loan officer or somebody who has to approve a loan, you have to know the habits.
Right.
I've applied for a loan, and certain things have been asked of me, like, okay, so you make this much. How are you paying for this, and how are you paying for that?
Right.
So you don't want to just give them $5,000 and they're not able to pay it back.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
And then I would see the other thing too, like, I mean, of course, like overdraft fees with banks, right?
My goodness.
When you spend money without having it there, the bank will charge you a nice $20, $30, $40 fee, depending on the bank.
Trust me, I know all about overdraft fees.
Oh, man.
I would go, and with me, I couldn't mess around like that because I used to have an account with the bank I used to work with, the credit union I used to work with. And I mean, that's something that you could get fired for because the way they saw it is if you can't control your money, how are you going to work at a place that's all about money?
Wait a minute. So if you have your account there with them at the same credit union you work at, and you overdraft, is that grounds for termination?
You could potentially be terminated for that and defaulting on your loan. And I think that's what really helped me because as soon as I turned 18, I opened up my account with that bank, with that credit union, and I started doing loans with them. So that really helped me out a lot too because I can honestly say for the past 9 years since I've had credit, I've never defaulted ever on one single payment.
Wow.
And that's actually because for 7 years.
All right, enough of the bragging. Seriously.
Nah, that's because for the 7 years. For the 7 years, I always had that threat, like, hey, if you default, man, you're gonna mess around with your job.
Oh yeah, you had that.
If you overdraft, man, that's gonna be possible termination.
Yeah, it just goes down to being responsible. You know, I remember when I was in my early 20s and I rented a home, 3-bedroom home, and it was the first time I had ever had my own place, and I had to pay the electricity, I had to pay the water, I had to pay the cable. And I was very punctual. It was like if it was due on the 9th of the month, I was paying it on the 7th.
Right.
You know, and that was my mentality. And I've always had that mentality because I just felt like that was the responsible thing to do. Right. And if you can train yourself at a young age to do that, you know, that's commendable.
Right.
But we're living in a generation now where we have more and more young people that are like, they want to put the bills off and they want more self-gratification.
Right.
Be able to buy things now and when I want it at my demand, you know. It's a little tough, but you know, that's definitely the generation we live in. But
yeah, one thing I would definitely recommend to like young barbers, if they have their accounts now, like definitely be on time with it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you plan on working at somebody else's shop, paying them booth rent, I mean, well, it might not be a problem. But I mean, if you're one day trying to open up your own shop, I mean, you're gonna have to get that through a loan or do a business loan or something. If they're seeing that you've been defaulted, I mean, that's definitely going to affect you, dude. And that's why a lot of people don't progress, because their credit.
Their credit, yes. It's very true. That's very true.
Credit is important, people. Trust me.
Yeah. Credit is definitely... as you get older, you start to appreciate the importance of credit.
Right.
When you're young, you don't quite understand about it, or understand it. You might slip here and slip there.
Right.
I think it's less important when you're younger.
Yeah,
to a degree, it's less important.
Oh, well, it all depends on education. Who's educating you? Who's helping you understand that it is important?
This is true.
Dude, that's one beef I have with school.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
the
high
watch
school
your mouth,
system. Shut up, dude. I feel like the high school, like you learn so much stuff you're never gonna learn. You're never gonna use in the real life.
Exactly.
But they don't teach you like vital stuff that people need to know. Like once they get out of high school.
Right.
Like,
I wish they would teach you like the importance of credit.
Man,
how to do taxes,
like
some stuff that I'm gonna use.
How
like
to get a house.
Year. Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
They really don't. They really don't.
They taught me geometry. I've yet to use geometry.
They teach you about pi.
I've been out of high school for 14 years, and even to this day, my nephews, they don't tell me.
14 years?
Yeah, 14 years, and they don't tell me.
Man.
My 14-year-old nephew, he doesn't tell me, hey, guess what? I learned how to mortgage a house today.
Man.
You know, they don't come home from school talking about those things. It's just how it is.
I learned how to avoid credit cards or something. Yeah.
And you know what? I always tell people, get you a credit card. Credit cards are great for in cases of emergencies.
Yeah,
you know?
In case of emergency, yes.
But then you have the opposite type of individual who gets a credit card and splurges.
Right.
You know, and then they don't recognize that if they don't pay back the full balance all at once, now they're paying back a larger amount because now they're paying it in intervals with built interest.
And the interest is with that APR.
Definitely.
That little secret number. That's evil sometimes.
So, like, I tell a person, okay, you know what? You want to build credit? Get you a credit card. Get you a Macy's credit card. Get you a Visa credit card. Get you something.
They are good to build credit. I will agree with you with
you know,
that.
You have to learn to purchase things with that credit card, but you got to learn to pay it back. Right. You can't just learn to let it linger. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, I mean, that's definitely an avenue for young people that they need. I recommend they should learn. You know?
Yeah,
definitely. I think they should teach that in school. Like, back to your point, Sway.
Yeah, definitely, dog.
Yeah, so what was your point, Sway? Did you want to address something in that aspect as far as children learning how to have credit at a young age?
Not much on it, but like one thing I will recommend people is to like look at different points of views on it, because there's this one guy, like super rich guy, Asian guy. He wrote the book.
Take it easy.
Easy on the race, guy. Asian guy. I can't remember his name, but he wrote a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Wait a minute.
And his thing is all about using credit to your advantage, like using credit to buy a house and then rent that house.
Are you 100% sure it's an Asian kid? Because I know that book, and
He looks fairly Asian. He's American, but I mean he's from like his parents are Asian.
Wow. Okay. I have to address you on this.
What?
I don't think he's Asian at all.
No? Alright, well, he's not Asian, but he wrote the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
You're just going off of looks right now? Are you serious right now?
Man, shut up, dude.
I gotta be right now. I gotta
write
be honest.
that guy when I'm on the podcast, we'll ask him.
If you are offended, I want to apologize for Sway's actions right now. If you're an Asian listener, I have love for Asians. Straight up.
Shut up, dude.
I can't believe you said that, honestly.
But one thing I'll say is, like, look at both aspects.
Hey, I wasn't done talking, dude.
Stupid fool. But try and look at both aspects and make up your own mind on it. Make your own decision on it. Like, you have the two extremes. Like, you have that guy, the guy that wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he's all about getting credit. He's all about starting your credit, taking care of your credit to make money.
Yes.
Not to go ball out and buy a bunch of J's or something, but to make money. And then you have the other extreme, which I listen to both. Like, you have, like, Dave Ramsey. He has his own YouTube channel.
Kevin Trudeau.
And he's, like, all about not having credit cards.
I just remembered Kevin Trudeau is who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That's his name?
I believe so.
I don't know. We'll have to look at it.
I'm going to Google it right now. Just,
all right,
just to get down to the point.
Go for it. So, I mean, listen to both of those guys and really make your own decision on it. Like, my decision has been to use credit, but use it wisely. Don't use it to splurge on dumb things, but use it so that way, I mean, later on you can buy a house.
Oh, this is true. That's a smart suggestion.
Use it later on so that way you can get a business loan for that way when I get my barbershop, that way I can do it.
I'm not going to lie. His name is Robert Kiyosaki. And he looks
Kiyosaki?
super Asian. So I want to say I was off on that. I was super wrong.
Slightly.
So I forgot who I was talking about. I don't know who I was thinking about, but I want to tell listeners I was wrong.
So are you saying you want to apologize to me?
I want to say I was wrong, but I don't want to say anything about apologizing. Because Sway made some super racist remarks, and I want to apologize for those in advance.
Yeah, be quiet, dude.
Just quiet. I'm sorry about that, guys.
Oh, that's funny.
I was off on that one.
No.
I had a hunch.
So yeah, man, you can either go the route like Dave Ramsey. He's all about saving money, and whatever you buy cash for it.
Oh wow.
So I mean, if you're trying to get a barbershop, that's a lot of money. So if you're trying to do it all cash, his route, you're gonna have to be saving for a while.
Wow.
If you want to go with the other guy's route, I mean, build up your credit so that way when it comes time to you opening up a barbershop, you don't have to save up all those thousands and thousands of dollars. You get like a business loan or a business credit card for it.
And that's where the credit comes in.
That's where credit comes in handy, right there.
Definitely.
I do want to say cash is king, though.
Definitely.
In my opinion.
Well, I've always been an advocate of cash. I've always said to myself, if I don't have the cash, I shouldn't buy it. You know?
For real.
Yeah, but it's tough. It is tough. But then there's, like, once again, we're talking about building credit. So, one time when I was younger, I bought a bedroom set. And I remember there at the place where I bought it, they were trying to get me to pretty much set up a long extension.
Right.
Probably like a 3 or 4 year plan.
Wow.
It's unnecessary.
It was very unnecessary. But what they had at the time was they had a 12-month famous cash. So you know what I did? I paid off that furniture in 12 months. And I remember the 12th month I went in there and I made a $300 payment. And the lady said, "Hey, sir, this is your last payment." And I said, "Oh, cool. I'm paying $300 today." She goes, "Well, the last payment is $5. If you pay $5 today, you're completely covered. You've finished paying it off." And I told her, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Awesome." I said, "But I was only prepared to pay $300. What happens if I pay the $300 and I just leave the other $2? She says, "Oh, well, what's going to happen is the interest from all 12 months is going to gather and collect for the following month. So you're going to end up having to back pay all of the interest." I was like, you know what? I'll pay the $5.
Wow.
See, that was a valuable lesson. Now imagine if I didn't have the money. Imagine if I didn't have the credit. Imagine where I would have been. I would have been in a hole. And obviously not in an ideal place in life.
Yeah.
So that's where, the importance.
But they didn't tell you that when you got it.
They didn't tell me that.
Especially not the salesman, dog. They're not going to tell you that up front.
They're more concerned about the sale.
Yeah, definitely.
Once the item is in your possession and they've been able to process the paperwork as a sale, and they're able to reap pretty much the sale, the money off of
commission,
it. The commission. Well, then guess what? You're not worried about what's going to happen to you 12 months from today.
That's why I always ask questions when I'm there. Yeah. I'm always like, well, what if this? And then like I can tell they do not care for me at all at that point. But I'm like, dude, it's my money. Like I deserve to know what the rules are at least.
Yeah, that you do. You do deserve to know.
All right, Jimmy. One question, man. I've already asked Adrian about this.
Ask me.
I want you to ask me again.
How would you consider doing barbering in the future?
So you guys know that I'm in a committed relationship, right?
For the listeners,
right?
Yeah. Jim is in a committed relationship.
Okay, so now the listeners know that I'm in a committed relationship.
So the girls can stop emailing me about Jimmy.
No more DMs. No more DMs. So I talked to my girlfriend about this,
right?
And I told her, I was like, "Hey, baby, guess what?" She's like, "What's that?" I said, "I've been doing some thinking and I have a friend that he's pursuing being a barber. He's in barber school. He's left his full-time employment because this is his new avenue. This is gonna be his new way of life."
Right.
And I said, "What do you think, babe? You think I could do it?" She was like, "Well, baby, I've never really pictured you cutting hair. But you know what? She has never seen me cut hair."
Oh.
And I remember when I was in high school, I started cutting my own hair. And I never got any comments from anybody talking about, "Hey, man, who messed your hair up?" Or, "Hey, bro, ¿quién te trasquiló?"
Hey.
You know, I never heard any type of comments like that, you know?
That's a positive sign.
You know, that's a positive sign.
Especially in high school, they'll clown on you.
They'll clown on you right away.
Yeah.
And nobody ever said anything about my hair. I felt like I was doing a good job.
Right.
So the inspiration came from my uncle. My uncle cut his own hair for years.
Right.
And so I said to myself, if he can do it, I can do it. So I remember being in the restroom, and I remember standing in front of the mirror and having another mirror behind me, and I had the clippers, and I already knew how to work the 0, the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. That was as high as it went.
Right.
Later on in life, I found out there's a 5, a 6, and a 7. Those are huge. Look like.
There's an 8, baby.
Yeah. It looked like Wolverine claws, man. I'm like, what is this?
Bear claws.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, wow, I didn't know these existed. But she didn't think that it was something that I possessed, a talent.
I think you have to show her.
I'll tell you this, guys.
Right.
The leap of faith that Sway has taken is going to take me some time to kind of figure out that's something I want to do. I do believe if I did pursue it, because I am a passionate person,
right?
I would be able to do it.
I'm going to say
successful.
You're going to have to show her.
I just am.
You got to show her.
There's no way around it. Yeah.
Dude, and I'm going to tell you this. I've seen it in the barbering book that we have, and I've heard it from different barbers, like,
I'm sick of you talking about that barbering book.
What are you going to learn from it?
You've actually asked me before, Sway, you know, if I considered it. What do you feel I have some sort of potential?
Dude, I'm going to be real with you. It's a trade, and it is a craft. But, dude, if you put your mind to any craft, anybody could cut hair. The concept is easy. You start low, you get higher gradually. The concept is easy. Obviously, I mean, they're having us put 1,500 hours for a reason, because you need to get that practice to get good at it.
It's like anything. You
it's
need
like
practice.
anything, dog. It's like anything. You need practice to do it. So as far as
how do I get a bootleg license?
Just open up a garage, baby. That's it. Dude, but
I'll drink honestly, a Corona to that.
Hey.
I think Sway is right. Anything you put your mind to, you can do. Of course, there are people who just are more talented at things than other people are. They just
that's very true.
They just have some people that are just good at barbering. Just like they just have it out of nowhere.
And
but you just need practice. I think you just need practice.
And as far as like what I was saying, as far as the book and what I've heard other people on YouTube, and actually my own instructors, they've all said similar things. They say personality is 80% of you getting and keeping clientele, and 20% is your haircut.
Really?
Because, dude, people tend to go with people that they feel comfortable with. And that's the same thing with my barber. Don't get me wrong, my barber is good. He hooks me up. But, dude, I like him personally. He's super cool. He's very professional. He's always on time. Yeah. He's very consistent. And, dude, true. I think you and Adrian have the personality to be barbers, man.
I want to say, for listeners, I've always gone with not personality. No,
Just
no,
straight scale?
no.
Yeah.
Like he says, it's 80%. So
Yeah.
I'm part of the 20%.
Wow.
Who,
So
Right.
80% of the success of being a barber is personality, not so much the
Right.
talent or the skill.
Right.
Hey, you know what? It's like they say 90% of all language is body language.
Wow.
You know,
Hey.
oh, I don't even know if that's a real saying. I might have made it up.
Well, I'll be real. My barber, when I first started going to him, he's somebody I knew before I knew he was a barber. Let's put it that way. He was already a friend, and then later on I found out, oh, he's a barber.
Right.
And then when I decided I wanted to be a client, he would tell me, he said, I would call him up and be like, hey, can you cut my hair today? I'm on my way to the barber shop. And he would say, I only do appointments.
Right.
And I'm like, oh. So from there forth, I would always call him up ahead of time and be like, hey, or text him. I would say, hey, are you available today at 4 o'clock? And he would say, oh, okay. He says, yeah, I'm available today. Or he would say no. So I kind of went off of the way that he was able to set things up, schedule things.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? This is actually a man that's organized.
Right.
And because he's organized, he's successful. But not only was he organized, when I would go and get a haircut, you know, one of the things that he would do, he would offer me a water, he would offer me a beer, he would offer me a soda, he would offer me something to drink while I waited or while I was in the chair. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. And apart from those features, he offered good conversation.
Man, dude. And I think that's real key, bro. I think that's key.
We're in 2017. He's been in business since 2000. So apparently there's been some success there.
He's doing
for a
something
reason.
right. And dude, I'm gonna be real with you because I see a lot of successful barbers on Instagram and so on.
Right.
And I see their haircuts. They're solid haircuts.
Yes.
But I've seen better haircuts.
Right.
So then I look at that and I see all the clientele they have. They have X number of barbershops. They're banking in money. So I'm seeing like, dude, this guy has to have a good personality. He has to have good customer service. He has to have good conversation. For him to be getting all this money, have all these businesses open. So that's why I definitely agree with that as far as like the 80% personality and customer service and the 20% skill.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As far as personality, man, I think both of you guys have it. So
I do too.
I mean, if you, I'll concede it,
I'll
right?
concede it.
So yeah, man, just maybe y'all can see how I go once y'all see that it's something that you guys can make a living off of, man. Maybe you guys will consider.
I'm definitely gonna work at your shop. I'm gonna be sweeping up the hair and all that stuff.
How
I'm gonna
about on
do
the next podcast, if you're cool with this way, you give us the breakdown. What's involved, how to pay for the college.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yes.
You know, these are actually things that might even persuade us to pick up the profession.
Yeah, definitely, man. I could definitely talk about the financial part of it, the enrollment part of it, the requirements and stuff.
Because you have to have a license in order to cut hair, don't you?
At a barbershop, you do. A lot of people cut from their garage or their house and stuff.
Oh, okay. But does that make them less of a professional?
If you ask most barbers, yes. They would. They see somebody that cuts hair without a license as somebody that cuts hair. They see them as not entitled of holding the title of barber. And I mean,
I see what you're saying.
It makes sense.
It makes sense because, dude, now that I've been in school, like, dude, you learn a lot about sanitation, about how to run a business. Like, dude, if you don't go to school for it, like, you're not gonna learn all that.
No.
And dude, to be honest with you, like, I've gotten my haircut at people's garages and stuff,
Yeah.
and I see like back then I didn't realize it, but now that I've learned about all these skin infections, all these hair damages, and I see that if you don't disinfect your tools after every single haircut, what kind of skin diseases or disorders you could get.
Wow.
Like, now I'm like, wow,
There's
dude,
consequences.
there's consequences, dude. Like, so that's why most barbers, when they see barbers that cut hair out of their garage, they don't consider them barbers.
Okay.
And again, I'm not a barber yet, but I'm just going off of what I've definitely heard.
I have a close friend, real close friend of mine.
Yeah.
If you guys ever want to consider doing a podcast in Spanish, man, I could definitely bring him around. And
dude, I'm glad you brought that up.
He's
man.
been in the barber business for quite some time, and may even would like to sit in on one of these.
Definitely, man. I'm glad you brought that up, bro, because that's something I've been wanting to tell the listeners that very soon I'm going to have a Spanish podcast.
Wow.
It's going to be on the same channel. It's still going to be at Behind the Barber.
Wow.
but I'm gonna have several episodes in Spanish.
Wow.
That way I can get all my listeners from Mexico, from Central
There's
America.
no listeners in Mexico, just for the record.
Dude, there's a huge following,
Yeah,
like especially in
there
like
is.
Puerto Rico, man. Dude, like man, Puerto Rico is like
And see
huge.
him on the-
And you
on
know,
the post.
South America is
Yeah.
definitely a huge market.
Shout out
area.
to Puerto Rico, Mexico,
Venezuela,
Dominican Republic,
Argentina,
Peru,
Venezuela,
Ecuador.
Argentina, Ecuador,
Yeah,
Peru,
I mean Uruguay.
Colombia.
Let's not forget about los Uruguayos.
Uruguay, Paraguay,
You know,
Chile,
but yeah, most definitely that would be
Panama.
awesome.
Yeah.
That
When you
would
think
be
about it,
great.
like
Nicaragua.
English is like the largest language, and I think Spanish, if I'm correct on it, it's the second largest, right?
Yeah, you're off on that one.
It's either Spanish or French.
Yeah, it's one of
Honestly,
the two.
I want to say
Portuguese,
the
I don't know.
largest are Chinese and Indian, and then English. Top 3.
And then English?
Chinese, it's a billion people. Indians, a billion people. And then English.
All right.
Fight me.
So maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but
Could
all right,
be,
cool.
probably not.
I
But
wanna
Spanish
say-
is Spanish is up there.
Top
Spanish is up
5,
there.
Spanish is definitely up there, dude.
All right, we'll go with top 5.
I have to say, you have to just give it to India and China.
Well, you know what?
A billion people each.
So you're gonna do an
from-
Indian episode?
I'm gonna do an Indian.
From the United States perspective, you will hear Spanish before you hear Chinese.
Every day.
Before you hear
Wait a minute.
Indian.
Let's take that back.
Now,
There's Chinatowns all over the place.
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. We have a Chinatown in New York. We have one in LA.
This is
That's
true though.
two places.
You speak facts
But we do have a lot of Spanish-speaking communities
definitely.
throughout the entire U.S.
throughout the entire U.S.
Yeah,
Shout out.
I want to say it's actually a little bit more than the Chinese language or any other language.
Excuse me, it's way more.
That's
That's not including any Mexicans.
And we're not going to exempt any language whatsoever, and we're not going to make any other language superior than any other. But yeah, I would say that it's up there.
I would definitely say
top two.
Spanish is.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
English, and then I would say Spanish is a close second in my book.
So if you guys have a barber in your barbershop that speaks primarily Spanish, or a friend that you think will benefit from this that speaks Spanish,
Yo hablo
let them know.
español.
As far as like who I have on, I don't know which one of you guys speak the best Spanish.
I gotta be honest with you. I am 100% fluent in Spanish.
Wow. I gotta be honest with you, I am not.
Dang, dude.
I speak a lot of Tex-Mex, so I
Yeah.
may sit that one out.
Me too, man. I speak more Tex-Mex, but I'm still gonna do it, bro.
Still gonna do it.
Yeah.
I may join you.
My Spanish is horrible.
That just depends. If you allow me to be a guest, I may sit
From
in.
the squad, who do you think speaks the best?
That
Is
would
it
be
Ruben or-
Ruben. That
right?
would be Ruben.
I think
Probably,
Ruben.
right?
Ruben all the way.
And I've been wanting to have him on, man. Except last time we were supposed to get on, he was busy. but that dude's always busy,
we
man.
can get him. We
Just
can
for the
get him, so.
listeners, once again, how can they reach you? Social media, email, go.
Yeah, definitely, man. So starting with the email, they can reach me at behindthebarber@gmail.com.
Nice.
And the other method is through my website. It's www.behindthebarber.com.
Nice.
And I think primarily is probably the best route is Instagram. So again, the Instagram is behindthebarber_podcast.
And once again, I am the co-host Adrian, and you can reach me on my Instagram, my personal Instagram, at Adrian_G. It's, let me spell it out for you. AYEDRIAN_G.
Wow.
Once again, Adrian_G.
Nice.
AYEDRIANG.
Hey, I just like to say I'm a proud follower of both, and hey, I want to thank you guys again for having me on. Really appreciate it, and if you have me back, believe me,
Go ahead and follow me on
It'll
Instagram
be a privilege.
and just give me some positive feedback on the DMs or whatever. Tell me what I need to do better. And I want to say, does Jim have any way to reach you? Are you willing to give it out? If you're not,
no.
all right, I'm gonna
At-
give it
at-
out. I'm
at-
gonna give it out personally.
at
Don't
this-
worry.
At this moment, the way they can reach me is through you guys.
Hey,
All right, and I'm gonna give it out on the next podcast.
He's got a
When
girl
on here.
now. He's got a girl
Yeah,
now. He's
you
afraid
know.
of the DMs right
I'm
now.
gonna have to come off the market. I've been off the market, but yes.
No, this is not even like getting you off the mark. This is about just what they thought of the podcast. But
I understand, but when you're a stud like myself,
this guy, honestly, ladies, if 1 through 10, this guy's a 21.
Oh my
just
God.
saying.
Easy.
I didn't ask for this. It was just a gift I was born with. But anyway, appreciate the flattery, guys. I really
like I always say, the Lord giveth.
And the Lord.
Then with Adrian, the Lord taketh.
I'm a solid 1 on a 100 scale.
But you know what, Adrian? I see big plans in your future. Big plans.
I think so too.
I do.
Let's just say there might be a big announcement.
We hope.
Next episode.
So
possibly.
We shall see as time progresses. But thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for listening once again, people all around the world.
All right, guys. Till next time.